Hey guys, welcome back to Muscle Rod Shop. Today we're going to be doing a video on hoods. Now, I've had a lot of comments on how hoods are made, the process to go through making them, and how they look on the cars. So we're going to go through a couple hoods. I'm going to show you probably about 10 or 12 different hoods that we've done. We have to do a hood on every single car that is a wide body car, channeled. Mainly channeled, not wide body. I mean, if it's wide body, it doesn't have to have a hood. I do the custom hoods. I do the metal work on them, and Ray does the body work, and then Jaime does the paint, which we'll get into all of that on some episodes pretty soon. But first of all, I'm gonna show you the latest hood that we've done, and it's a 1970 Roadrunner, and it was channeled. And really quick, let me go through the whole channeling process and, well, not the process, but what's channeled on the car. So here is frame on a car, okay? That frame rail that runs right here. On a factory one, on a car that has not been touched, this frame rail here sits probably down here somewhere. So this angle, there's a lot less of that angle. So what we do is we cut it, pull this up, and the engine, it bolts to a K-frame that bolts to this, and then put these two pieces back together so it looks factory. So when you do that, the motor comes up. It comes up a lot. So on this car, it's got giant quarter panels. I mean, they're just fat, really big quarters. This scoop was put in here. On the factory car, there's an indentation here to make it look like there's a scoop, and it's probably only about, I don't know, an inch deep or so. So this is where the factory quarter sat. That's how much it was pulled out. And when you pull it out, well, you end up with a giant hole, so why not just use it? Back to hoods. So this hood is, it started out as a factory 1970 Roadrunner, GTX, whatever you want, hood. And then what happens is, for example, this hood here, this is a Charger hood. That's about how flat they look, all of them. The 70 Roadrunners had a little bit of a cowl, but I don't use any of that stuff at all. So I'll get the hood and then make a cut all the way around, and then take the factory skin off and then make a new one. This whole inner structure you're looking at right now originally looked like that. So everything you're seeing right there gets cut out, okay? And then you make that. Sometimes there's more bracing going on in here than just what you see, but on this particular hood, it has to be very wide open because there is a Hellcat going in here, a Hellcat motor. So first of all, you gotta know your height, and those Hellcat motors sit very high because of the blower on them. In this case, the car's channeled, which means that whole frame rail moved up 2 inches. So now it's sitting really high, and you gotta have a giant cowl for it. All the customers have different ideas of how they want their hoods to look. The scoops are actually heat extractors. The heat comes out of these. They are not for air to go in. But as far as additional screens or holes or, you know, shapes and whatever, I'll let them decide that stuff and whatever they want to come up with. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're like, hey dude, just do whatever you want to do. So then we'll do that. They have a lot of say when it comes to the design of the hood, if they want it. Like I said, these right here are heat extractors, okay? Heat pours out of that. It actually cools the engine compartment a lot. And on some hoods, we'll put a big screen right here in the back, and it'll come out of the back right here. In this particular one, the owner did not want a screen. Originally, it was supposed to have louvers, big louvers right here in the middle. The car changed owners, and now we're here. If you go and watch the shop after hours walk around video I did, it was probably like the second or third video I ever did. You'll see a green 70 GTX in the video. Now, if you notice the front bumper on that, it's a big truck bumper looking thing. You know, it's really huge. What I like to do on the Roadrunners, especially 6970, is cut that bumper in half and make a valance panel out of it. You see, we added this valance panel. It's really dirty right now. But that piece right there on the bottom doesn't exist on a Roadrunner. So this is normally a bumper from here all the way down like a truck. But in this case, it now has a valance. And what it does is it really changes the front end a lot. You know, it gives you that, you know, any old muscle car look with a small little bumper that can be chromed or shot body color, which in this case, this one will be shot body color. But you can see how the hoods look. I mean, they just add so much to the car. And from the side. It's a good looking hood. Now, if you're wondering what this red stuff is, this is called guide coat. So you see, like, once all the primer's done, body work, and then we go and prime it, Ray puts this guide coat on here. So it's just like any excess paint we have, any base coat we have, we put in a can, and you can reduce it and you just spray it on here very lightly. Some places heavy. But what it does is when you sand it, it'll turn really light gray. You know, like that color. And if any, which there shouldn't be, but if there's any little spots of this red left, you know that's a low spot. And it will show up in the paint job once it's cleared as a kind of a wave or a dent. And that's what you want to stay away from and make sure all those little spots are taken care of. Right here's a great example on the wide body Challenger, and it's all over the 57. See, he's sanding the guide coat off. So far this one's looking really good. The guide coat's being sanded off, and all that's left is a nice smooth flat panel. You know it's flat when you don't have any red showing. And then he'll be going through all this down here, making sure it's all good. The whole car's come out pretty good so far. It all looks great. Roof, no spots left anywhere. So this one's just about ready to go. Now, even after we're done sanding, just because we don't see any spots doesn't mean we're done and it's ready to go. You still have to sight it. So what we use is stuff called wax and grease remover. Now, this stuff you can pick up at O'Reilly's or anywhere else, but how it's done is the wax and grease remover is to obviously clean your panel before you paint it. You want to wax and grease it and then use a waterborne cleaner. So it's a long process, but I'm going to show you what I mean by sighting a panel. And I'm not the painter, so painter's gone for today. This piece has already been base coated. It was base coated before, when we actually didn't have this hood. It was a factory one. And then, like I said, the car changed hands, different engine, so different hood. Car was already all purple. So if we're gonna put a different hood on it, the hood and fenders and cowl panel all have to mesh together. So gotta go do the whole top of the front of the car again. But the rest of the car was ready to go. As you can see, I mean, it's all purple and pretty. Wax and grease mover in a little bottle and flat base coat. When you spray this stuff on here, you can see how your paint's gonna look. Yeah, damn, that looks good. Okay, so that's not sighting it, all right? The sighting part is when you take that reflection and you make sure there's no bumps as you're coming up and going back down. See, it's right now it's just following the curve of the body. That's good. But when you come up and down like this, and you see that this reflection here dip, then you know you have a problem. Okay, so if I go, here's where it's dry. I'm gonna do it again. You can give it a second to level off, and then we can go through and check it. I'm moving right now, and I don't see that garage door reflection or this line moving. So that's how you know that the body work was done correct. Looks pretty good. So that's siding a panel. So that's how you know that you're gonna have a really nice mirror finish on your car when you're done. So in here is another example. This is that that hood that was done for the Hellcat Charger that we did a video on. It's got the same style to it, except the scoops are a little straighter. They're not angled so much. They're not angled as much as the that other hood out there on the Roadrunner. This is a valance panel, a front valance panel. It goes underneath the bumper for a 67 fastback Mustang. It's actually the one that's out in front that is also in the walk around video. Just decided to put scoops in it for the hell of it. Maybe it was in the rendering, I really can't remember. But it's got some cool stuff. This is the hood for it. This hood had to be made the same way, so it obviously doesn't look like a factory 67 fastback Mustang hood, but looks pretty good. It's got some cool arrow catch hood latches, big scoop all the way across the front. But you know, this car's got a twin turbo Nelson racing engine in it, so it needs a lot of air. But yeah, really cool piece. And this was all fabricated the same way. This is all in the front as a round stock, just to make the border. And because I like a thicker edge on it, I don't like it to be really thin, and I don't like it to be super thick. So I think it's like 3/16 or something like that, round stock, just to make the edge, and then you make the sheet metal form over the rest of it. So worked out pretty good. Good looking hood. And those are the Mustang fenders back here. We pulled those wheel wells up a lot. This car sits 4 inches off the ground, so yeah. And then we got another example, of course, the Daytona, that's sitting up on top of the lift right now. I'm way up here on the stairs because you got to get way up high on here, but that's a good example of another hood. In this particular case, we got a big scoop in the front, and that scoop will actually feed into the motor. So we got scoop, and then we have extractors, and then on this hood, he wanted a screen in the back of that cowl, like I was saying just a minute ago. And then right there on the fender is another set of scoops that Daytona's had. Now you can see that big opening in the back. So that opening actually has the same shape as the tail panel of the car. It has that shape right there. I'll go ahead and show you some more hoods right now that we've done so far. All right, so the first hood up is the 67 fastback Mustang that we'll end up doing an entire video on when he brings it by. So the hood started out like this. It's completely factory. It's done the same way. The whole center of it is completely cut out, and then it was lifted up. You can see the sides are a lot taller on this one. And so when the hood was all done,
and put on the car, the intake was changed. So we ended up having to put kind of like a cowl in the middle, as you can see there. So that's just, that cowl in the middle was just done because the motor ended up sitting too high after the fact. So, and then up next is this a hood I did for a guy out in, I think, New York or something. Once again, started out as a factory Charger hood, and he liked how the green Charger hood looks and wanted the same thing, so I just made him a hood. And that's the outside, and this is the inside of it. So you can see that a big majority of the center is cut out, and then I try to leave as much factory framing as possible, but everything that's really shiny silver metal here is what gets replaced. Then we got the Challenger hood that we did, which is from San Antonio. I don't have a picture of a factory Challenger hood, but if you want to look up a factory, they're called rally hoods. It's kind of the same as this, except those scoops are actually pointing the other direction. I just like to look at this. He wanted something custom, and it needed a cowl, so the cowl's lifted up on it. The blue Charger, this car. Beautiful car. That car is from Florida and is now in, I don't know, like Europe, something like that. I don't know where it is. Far away. You can see it's got like 3 louvers on each side. This one actually started out with 2 big louvers. In this picture, what you're looking at is the skin itself. So this is before it gets put on to the hood. So on the right hand side of this picture, you can see a big hole cut out of a factory hood. And then this skin, I make this skin here. It's done with an English wheel, plenishing hammer, all the metal fabrication tools. And the English wheel really helps out a lot on this. I don't know how to do with that one, but either way, the things that changed on this from what you just saw in that blue car was I just added 2 more extractors on each side. Here's a green Charger, just beautiful design. It's got skull in the front, really good looking hood. And you can see how much the hoods just add to the car. If that was a factory flat hood on it, it wouldn't do the same as it does with a giant hood on it with scoops all over the place. But it's done in a way, it's subtle, it's not in your face kind of thing, but it does the job. Like I said, we put these cowls on these hoods because we channel all the cars and the engines come up towards the hood when you do that. So you got to have that extra room in there. We also do fiberglass style hoods too, as you can see here. My dad, Steve, the owner of the shop, he's really good at that fiberglass stuff. I don't like messing with that stuff, but this is the 67 Fastback Mustang hood that you saw in the video. Here's another picture of it. It's a crappy picture, but as you can see, everything's in metal. The valance panel on the very bottom, that whole bottom panel is made. And then the hood, that's before there was skin on it. That's just to mark where I want the scoops. Then you got the brown car, the 69 Roadrunner, this metal hood. There's a big insert in the middle of that thing. That thing right now is out at the interior shop. When it gets back, we'll do a full video on it. It's a very nice car. Let's move to, just real quick before I'm done, I'm going to go to the Daytona. This is how a lot of the cars come in. This one's actually pretty clean compared to what we get sometimes, believe it or not. But this is the Daytona when it came in. The grille was pretty nice-ish. It was alright. This car ended up needing a whole roof structure because it was rotted out on the inside. But here's a picture of how I go about doing the nose cone. Now, see, I didn't want a really long nose on these cars are very, very long when they got a long nose. I wanted to shorten this car up a lot. You can kind of see in the front where the front of the fender's marked. It just comes down, then it curves back, you know, towards the wheel. And that pencil mark represents where the factory fender sits. And then on a Daytona, you have about a foot and probably about a foot and almost a foot and a half or so of nose after that on a factory car. And then here's a picture of what it looks like. This is this is in the process of building the hood. So the customer wanted an intake scoop in the front, which you saw in the video, and then to carry on that scoop into the nose cone. But you can see how the hood's built right here. All these different pieces go into a hood. The top of this cowl is done with an English wheel here, and then you shrink the sides of it to make it curve. There's a lot that goes on. You know, you got things called the plenishing hammer and a shot bag where you beat the crap out of the metal and then it turns out like that. So that's it for the pictures.
So as far as this hood goes, this is going to be the next one we do. I wasn't doing YouTube during the rest of these hoods, so there was no reason to record them, but on this one I'm going to. This hood is being set aside right now for this car here. This is a 68 Charger from Australia. So this one will be shipped to Australia when it's done. It's got a roadster shop chassis and it's a full chassis car. The only thing left on it is a hood. So we're gonna get on that, and during that whole filming process, you'll be able to see how all that is done. And you'll be able to do it yourself. So, and that's a 68 wide body Charger. It also has a Hellcat motor in it. It was supposed to have a Hellefant, but something went south with that. I can't remember what it was. The process will be taken on this hood. All this in the middle will be cut out. So we'll be starting right about here on this line and working our way down and just hack this hood up. This hood's already bad. I mean, it's got a lot of rust in it, but luckily I don't really use too much of that crap. See? Oh no, this hood is ruined. We gotta throw it away. I hear that a lot on shows.
Look at that, rusty.
Yeah, well, rust ain't too bad. But we'll cut all of this, all along here, up, and back around, pretty much cut out this whole thing. And then the entire skin is going to go away. And it'll probably look something like this green one right here. So if you guys are interested in seeing how a custom hood is made, let me know. Leave a comment and I'll definitely film it if you guys would like. Other than that, we have the CUDA coming up pretty soon that Tony's gonna be on, that is getting the front end of the Demolition Ranch CUDA. Good old Tony is gonna be on that one. And I'm filming that whole thing because it's gonna be pretty intense how that thing is gonna be built. And we also have a lot more on the Demolition Ranch CUDA. The motor's off right now being rebuilt, and when it comes back, we get to put the whole entire car back together and start making the dually quarter panels. And lengthening the front fenders and doing all the stuff we're gonna do. So if you're interested in how hoods are built, stay tuned. We're going to go through that whole video and I'll have one of those up pretty soon. Visit our Instagram @Muscle Rod Shop. Like, subscribe, hit the bell if you will, and thanks for watching.